Good afternoon and welcome back to Bowls Mount Maunganui for the Women's Fours final here from the Summerset National Fours Championship. And it is Sandra Keith up against Wendy Green. Sandra Keith, who we had her game earlier today, a 20-12 win over Debbie White in the semi-finals. Taylor Bruce again her lead. Selena Smith her number 2 and Claire Hendra number 3 taking on the Wendy Green skip 4 of Lynette McIntosh, Huia Ratana, Doreen Ryan and Wendy Green. And we are underway, the first end nearing its completion. Number 3's Doreen Ryan first, and now Claire Hendra playing their bowls. Short turnaround for Wendy Green's 4 rather. In fact, it is Lynette McIntosh, of course, who is playing as the 3, not the lead, as a graphic set. Apologies. So Lynette McIntosh now playing her second bowl. Backhand side. Looks in a pretty good line, and it promotes the earlier bowl from Doreen, I think Huia Ratana onto the jack. 2 red bowls in vicinity. One right on the jack, and that is the shot bowl. As the skips now make their way to the mat. Brenton Vinisroy in commentary here for you of this Women's Fours final alongside Kevin Hickland. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Afternoon, Brenton, and yes, end 1 underway in this final, and we have the side of Taylor Bruce, Selena Smith, Claire Hendra and Sandra Keith skipping up against Doreen Ryan, Claire Huia Ratana and Lynette McIntosh and Wendy Green. 3 of these players, of course, out of the Nongataha Club and also members of the Taupo Club. And a very strong side in the provincial arena as we see Sandra Keith with her first bowl running down to get to the counting bowls, and ably assisted in this particular final. We've got Kirsten Edwards out on the green with the lollipop, so she'll keep us up to date, indicating it's 1 to the Wendy Green skip side. As we see Wendy Green drawing down, Wendy Green, the holder of 23 Bay of Plenty centre titles, so certainly.
We're not going to get a much more decorated marker than Kirsten Edwards, of course, the defending champion from the Fours from last year. Unfortunately for her quartet, skipped by Mandy Boyd out in the quarterfinals too. Wendy Green yesterday.
See Sandra Keith trying to run through to the shot bowl, made some movement but didn't dislodge the counting bolt of the from the number 3, Lynette McIntosh, who's senior in the big. I don't see this very often. A team now in all white, Brendan, the big sort of Panama type hat.
Oh, no team's got better hats than Wendy Green's 4.
They certainly got the 2 caps, 2 Panamas, and all in white. Wimbledon-like. As we see this bowl, it's going to finish jack level, but won't count. As they take 1 shot out, and just the 1's the indication very quickly from Lynette McIntosh, the number 3.
So on the board first is Wendy Green.
18 ends, of course, no time limit, and also underway further on the screen here in front of us is the semi-finals of the men's fours. Gary Lawson playing up against Mike Carroll, 2 very, very good mates, and Mike Kernahan up against his blackjack teammate Shannon McElroy in those semi-finals, and we'll endeavour to keep you up to date with the scoreboards. And of course, after this final, we will be bringing you the final of the men's fours here at the Summerset National Fours final in a very, very sunny Mount Maunganui.
Yeah, that's why these hats are very sensible, that have been worn by Wendy Green, the skip, and Doreen Ryan, the lead here for Wendy Green. Very hot conditions here, as has been the case throughout the Summerset National Fours. And Kevin, I can tell you, after two ends of the men's fours semi-final between Mike Carroll and Gary Lawson. It is 3-2, Mike Carroll leading Gary Lawson, and 4-2, Mike Kernahan is leading Shannon McElroy after 4 ends of their semi-final.
Certainly two great semi-finals at men's fours, isn't it? As we just saw Dean Elgar, of course, the defending champion, lose this morning to Mike Kernahan, a repeat of last year's final, but this time Kernahan coming out on top. So we've seen out Doreen Ryan play her second bowl on this, the second end, playing right out in front of us here on rink 2. Looks as though it's going to head towards the deep. In fact, it's into the ditch.
Yeah, the jack right back on the 2 metre mark. So, long end here being played by Wendy Green's 4, and unfortunately for her lead, Doreen Ryan unable to find her length. There's one well short and one in the ditch.
So Taylor Bruce trying to continue that form from this morning, and is going to do so. She draws right alongside the jack. Was in superb form this morning, was the blackjack, who's at the lead in the fours, New Zealand side, and will lead in the pairs as we see now Claire Huiarana of the Nongataha Club, holder of centre titles both in the Bay of Plenty and in Wellington. As her bowl now is breaking towards the head, and Wendy Green's looking at this bowl closely as it breaks towards the head. Here's a superb bowl for the number 2, sits right alongside the jack.
Oh, the red bowl in the end got the shot in that opening end. 2 pretty quality bowls on the opening end, and again producing on the second end. Needed to make a good start after Sandra Keith's 4 so impressive in the win over Debbie White semi-final earlier today.
So Selena Smith just going to go by outside that of the shot bowl, finishes right on the centre line underneath the number.
Yeah, right on the limit of the green, just in front of the ditch.
So number 2 playing his second bowl. Claire Huiarana played an absolute magnificent draw bowl with the first. Looks to have a wee bit more weight on with this one as it goes past what is the shot bowl. And the green this afternoon, there's no doubt Brenton would have sped up, because that sun is now, it's out and it's in full visitation this afternoon now. We had a bit of cloud cover there earlier on for a while, but right now it's the sun's right out, and that green was around 16 this morning, and would have got up to about 17 now. And I'm picking as we progress through the afternoon, we're going to get to about 18 seconds at this that the green will be running at. So on these full length heads, it's running pretty slick at the deepest part of the rink for sure. And remembering the other thing which makes a difference down there, Selena Smith rests on the bowl, turns it through the head. And of course the people have been walking, the players have been walking as well down around that end of the green where things are, and it just puts a wee bit of speed on that last 2 to 3 metres of the rink. Well played by Selena Smith, the number 2 for Sandra Keith.
Yeah, undid the work by Huiarana.
Lynette McIntosh not far away here. Is going to run all the way to the jack. No, it's not. Just going to give a metre short. Yeah, those seagulls in the background, because we are here at the Mount Maunganui. The port is just in behind us. Only stone's throw away, really, from the beautiful Mount Maunganui beach just the other way from here. But
you got a better arm than me.
Well, it's say driving a 5 on the pitching wedge. It's in the area.
Yeah, it's not far away, that's for sure. And there's that one from Claire Hendra ends in the ditch as well. So she struggles with this longer length end, although Huiarana and Selena Smith have found their range.
So again, this second bowl of Lynette McIntosh is going to just pull up under the head. Very, very, between these two players, of course, 38 Bay of Plenty titles between Lynette McIntosh and Wendy Green. So they are very, very experienced combination. See Claire Hendra trying to capitalise on the good bowl, played from Selena Smith. And I'll just come up fractionally short. We saw the game this morning, Brent and me, the start given by Taylor Bruce and Selena Smith certainly created, a great opportunity for the skip for Sandra Keith. Wasn't a great deal of pressure throughout the game, and Debbie White was continuously under pressure, and it just made it a big challenge for the Hinuera side.
Multiple national champion Kirsten Edwards, our marker indicating that Sandra Keith is holding short. I think the jack level bowl from Taylor Bruce would be that bowl, purple bowl, just right in front there of Lynette McIntosh.
So on the forehand, and Wendy Green, I don't think she'll like that bowl. That's breaking down towards the head. It's going to certainly finish on that short side. I hope you're enjoying this coverage that we're bringing to you along. But great work done by Ben and Tamara, who bring all this together, put it all together, all the graphics, camera work, etc. Do a wonderful job. So Sandra Keith makes her way back to the mat. Great crowd in here at Club Mount Maunganui for sure.
Yeah, most of the spots are taken up. There's a few spots available on the grass if you do want to make your way down. Of course, the men's final to follow. But plenty of ends remaining in this women's fours final. Only played the one.
So
the business end of the second.
Sandra Keith, this is on a good line of Sandra Keith. This bowls it now, arcs its way in towards the jack and will sit right alongside, just in front of it. Indication from the marker, it's 2 shots, and then McIntosh saying you've got about a foot to draw the shot. Definitely better weight this bowl from Wendy Green. Just Lynette McIntosh looking at this as it breaks down towards the heads are going to be on the wide side, and it is. And we'll go all the way towards the ditch and travels into the sand.
Yeah, so made the adjustment with the weight, but didn't get it right with the line that time. And now an opportunity to add to the count here, Sandra Keith, and to grab that lead straight back. Don't think it's got the weight. That won't count. So it should be 2. A measure for third here.
So the measures coming out. Claire Hendra.
And certainly by the look of our screen, you'd favour that Selena Smith bowl that Claire Hendra is measuring 2 over the Huia Latina bowl. It's 3 indeed, indicated by Kirsten Edwards. So it's 3-1. Sandra Keith now leading Wendy Green after 2 of the 18 ends in this women's fours final here from Bowls Mount Maunganui. It's a lovely facility here. Been in operation for 10 years, part of a great multi-sport complex in Mount Maunganui. Got Test cricket venue with Bay Oval, rugby fields, you've got hockey turfs, one-stop sporting shop.
So here's now Taylor Bruce playing her first bowl. Looks to be on a good opening line this first bowl. Taylor Bruce and then Sandra Keith again. Out comes the applause as it finished just jack level, just sits alongside Jack, been very impressive to date. So Doreen Ryan now playing on forehand, trying to draw down to the Taylor Bruce bowl, and it's going to run short of on that line. Taylor Bruce again will come down, a tall Burnside player on the backhand. Again, it looks to be on that line. She's certainly been very consistent today, all day with her line, and draws again just alongside, goes just by the jack.
Just more of what we saw from her this morning, Taylor Bruce in the semi-final against Debbie White. Again, peppering the jack, giving lots of options for Sandra Keith later on. Men's fours semi-finals in progress as well. Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McRoy 5-2 after 5 ends, and it's 3 apiece. Mike Carroll and Gary Lawson after 4 ends of that semi-final. Of course, winners of those 2 will meet in our final, which we will be broadcasting for you sometime after 3:30. A big day of bowls for you here from Bowls Mount Maunganui. Brenton Vannisroy alongside Kevin Hickland, as that one goes past the head but finds a pretty good home, with obviously Taylor Bruce holding the 2 shots. It's all up to Wendy Green's 4 to respond after that platform laid by Taylor Bruce, and Hui Ratana starts a bit wide. Has that extra weight as well, so adapting to the shorter length end that they're playing here.
So we're seeing very early on in this game that early pressure on the head, which all comes from what happens at the start, not the back end of the head. And Taylor Bruce, along with Selena Smith, especially Taylor Bruce, have started that well, and the difficulty here for the Bay of Plenty side, of course, is those front bowls, and the indication is to clear Hui Ratana, draw down through the port, trying to get to the shot bowl or the jack. As we see the red bowl coming down towards the head now, just going to go by with weight, definitely head line.
Well, it had that attacking weight, didn't it, to try and either knock away the shot bowl or trail the jack.
Claire Hendren out on her backhand. The Silverstream player. And of course, we representing Wellington, no doubt, in the intercenter, just going to drop short of that line. And certainly, it's just restricting that line down through there, so we'll see. Lynette McIntosh will also come down on that forehand side, having to get through past the short bowls to draw down to the jack. And Kirsten Edwards will keep us posted on what's happening on the head. Let's see, what's this bowl of Lynette McIntosh's? Just going to die short of weight.
Oh, she was signalling 5 before.
She was.
Edwards. I don't think that would have really changed the situation.
So, big pressure here early on. We see Claire Hendra playing her second bowl on this, the third end. So 1.5 mat was the weight call from Wendy Green, saying to Lynette McIntosh, we just need another, so that means about another 5 feet of draw weight. Won't want to be short, certainly as the bowl goes past us here in the commentary position, looks to be of a better weight. Trying to get to the jack, ran into a front bowl, and the callers, that'll help a bit. Still be 3, I would say. It is. It's Kirsten Edwards straight away signaling to us. Still 3 to the Sandra Keith side as they change over. But Lynette McIntosh was on a good line there, just slipped away under the short bowl.
Oh, it's great that Kirsten Edwards has put her hand up for the lollipop duties.
Yeah, it's great to see these. We'll say, yeah, I see, because of course Kirsten Edwards is about to go to England very shortly to play in that World Cup indoor. Raymond Martin and herself, and of course they'll play in the mixed pairs as well. So, you know, current blackjack. But Kirsten Edwards, great to see her going up her afternoon to do the lollipops as we watch this bob. Sandra Keith breaking in towards the head. Oh, it's just not quite in the count. There's a lot of bowls here for Wendy Green to try and get through, navigate some of these short bowls to get to the shot. Playing with a lot of weight, trying to get to the jack. got the jack, went out to the side. I don't think it'll change the position. Brendan, definitely just two Taylor Bruce bowls there. It's where the Claire Hendra bowl at the back counts.
Yeah, Sandra Keith wants to have a bit of a look here because obviously the situation has changed. The jack has been moved out the side after Wendy Green ran into a short one, which then found its way to the jack.
Looking from here, it does looks like they're going to get. Yes, we're going to see it is two. Kirsten Edwards indicating to us, so it's the two bowls of Taylor Bruce's that are the counting bowls. And Sandra Keith will, on the draw, certainly not going to run any of the green bowls into Wendy Green bowls into the head, so to just be on the draw. And of course, the men's semi-finals are also underway over here as well, which will keep you updated on the scoreboard. That is Mike Kernahan versus Shannon McElroy and Mike Carroll versus Gary Lawson.
And Sandra Keith playing on that backhand side, just trying to add to the count. She can. She might want to try and promote any of the shorter bowls from her opposition. In the end, it's coming under a bit narrow. Now, Lynette McIntosh.
So the difficulty is, of course, for Wendy Green on the draw is one of the short bowls. She may try to come, Wendy Green may elect to try and get around the front bowls on the forehand. Difficult draw shot. It certainly got weight. It's a matter of going to run into anything and doesn't, and goes past, and the indication from Kirsten Edwards that it was two.
That's confirmed. So, two more for Sandra Keith. 5-1 now after 3 of the 18 ends. This is the final of the women's fours here at the Summerset National Fours at Bowls Mount Maunganui. As Kevin mentioned earlier, we do have the two men's semi-finals on this green at the same time. 6-2, Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McElroy after 6 of the 18 ends. Still 3 apiece after 4 of the 18, and the match between Mike Carroll and Gary Lawson. Of course, the winner of those two will meet in the men's final, which will get underway sometime after 3:30, so make sure you do stay with us here on Sky Sport Next.
So jack being delivered, pretty much not quite a full-length head, but certainly the jack fairly well up. As we see the bolt, Taylor Bruce is now just coming towards the jack, and
doesn't make a difference for Taylor Bruce, does it? Whether it's longer or shorter, she'll find her way back to the centre line and will be within a foot or two of the jack. Very consistent player. Was a great example of that this morning, which has really piled the pressure on from the front for Sandra Keith's quartet, and is doing likewise. Opposition leads must have nightmares after playing Taylor Bruce.
Well, when you're finding the line like Taylor Bruce has been doing today, in every bowl, well, just about every bowl, being effective and coming back to the centre line, it certainly is putting the pressure on your opposing lead end after end after end. As we watch this now, her second bowl just breaking towards the head now, and again it's going to pull up just alongside the jack, and it does right on front of the centre line.
Well, if you're getting the line right every time, it's one half of the game done, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You just work on your weight, and she's got pretty decent weight control, as we've shown from these first 3 ends of this match. Where
great attempt here by Doreen Ryan to get to the jack. In fact, she's going there and drawing the front touch up.
Well, we just talked about how you might get a few nightmares after playing Taylor Bruce as an opposition lead, but what a response that is from Doreen Ryan as the spray comes out from her skip Wendy Green to indicate that is indeed a toucher. Great bowl. It shows the calibre that's needed to beat those first 2 from Taylor Bruce. Now Selena Smith. It's going to come round the back, finding its way pretty much to the centre line.
Well, obviously playing the right thing to try and play with weight to get to the jack or that shot bowl, and especially with the way the head's situated, with that Taylor Bruce bowl just sitting behind the head, certainly forward to play with some reaching weight. As we've seen out clear, Hui Ratana looks to be on that backhand side, maybe a bit quick, and it's going to go by. And it does. So Smith now, the North Harbour player, who I believe will play the singles for North Harbour in a couple of weeks' time in the centre. Got the Oakleys on and collar up to protect from the sun. Breaking down towards, is going to get past that front bowl now. Had the great weight to get to it. Just only one bolt off the centre line, but a great attempt by the number 2. So the second bowl now. Clear Hui Ratana just going to sit outside, but gets back to the centre line.
Yeah, I think there we heard an indication from Sandra Keith. The clear Hendra at number 3. If you can get on that Taylor Bruce bowl, which is just in behind the jack on the centre line, there'll be a chance. This one looks a bit narrow. It's just going to come off the wide bowl from Selena Smith. Now, Annette McIntosh. She's playing on the backhand side. It's going to come up short. Claire Hendra seeking some instructions from her skip, Sandra Keith, as to what options she has on the mat. Just confirming the weight. And coming with a weighted shot here is Claire Hendra. Trying to attack the shot bowl. Just slides through the gap. Looked good live. Just came under the line.
Just a bowl under the line, really, Brendan. It was a great attempt, a one bowl target. So Annette McIntosh with her second. And it's going to pull up short too, but holding the shot. And the big thing is here for the Wendy Greenskip side is let's score one and then we get hold of the jack and then let's see if we can control some length and the girls up front can start, building ahead.
Absolutely. And you can see there just how small of a target is Claire Hendra now looking at it and just seeing whether if she had got or whether Sandra Keith can get a nice solid contact on that front bowl, maybe push the shot bowl out. Possibility of potentially 3.
It is a chance of getting it right out of the head. Of course, it does have to be played with quite a bit of weight to make sure.
And it obviously depends on how close those two actually are, because from our angle it looks like they're almost sitting on each other. And
where the jack may go to. So here is Sandra Keith, as Brendan said, endeavouring to play that shot to the front bowl. Goes underneath it.
It's through that same gap that Claire Hendra found with her second bowl. Sandra Keith will get another opportunity. Wendy Green.
On the draw, looks to be going quick past the head, and it is. So I'm sure we'll see Sandra Keith try and endeavour to play that same backhand weighted shot.
Yeah, it's coming again. Just needs to make a slight adjustment with her line. This looks like it might be coming under the line as well. It is indeed a near replica. In fact, knocks away one of the wide bowls. Clear Hendra, I think it was. So I'll be giving up the mat here.
This looks different weighted bowl from Wendy Green. Has to get past the front, but still going to just drop by.
So 1 to Wendy Green. 5-2 now after 4 of the 18 ends. This is the final, the women's final of the Summerset Nationals here at Bowls Mount Maunganui. We have the 2 men's semi-finals in progress as well. And I believe it is 6-2 after 6 ends. Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McElroy. And 5-3 now, Mike Carroll leading Gary Lawson after 5 of the 18 ends. Those are semi-finals, winner of those 2 to meet in the decider from after 3:30 this afternoon. So big day of bowls we're bringing to you here on Sky Sport Next. I hope you are enjoying our coverage wherever you may be. It's beautiful weather conditions here, nice and hot. Just a light little zephyr coming across the green. And Kevin, no doubt these greens are getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, they will. They'll sweat a bit now with this heat as well, because with the greenkeeper, no doubt would have watered them this morning. And once they start to sweat and that moisture comes out, it surface sort of glass sheens a bit, and will certainly quicken up, as we saw the first bowl of Dawn Ryan and short, and he's up very, very. I don't see this very often. And
uncharacteristic, not getting back to that centre line. Well, we have praised her time and time again, Taylor Bruce, for that great ability to get back to the centre line. This time, didn't have that. So hung one out wide.
So here's a chance now for Dawn Ryan, and she's taken that opportunity and is drawn right to the jack and draws the front toucher. Does the Wendy Green lead just what was wanted?
Well, she got the shot last time after a great start from Taylor Bruce, and again another toucher from Doreen Ryan. And that's exactly what Wendy Green will need in the battle of the leads.
So Taylor Bruce going to finish jack level, just dropped under the line. The sun just goes in behind a cloud. Players will be happy to have a bit of breeze,
a bit of respite,
and just that temperature to cool down a bit, as we see Claire Huiraten up with the Sandra Keith side leading 5-2 as we play the 15, and the Wendy Green holding shot. Bowl here from the number 2, going to draw around. That'll sit in behind the jack.
And this is all because Taylor Bruce hasn't made the usual start that she's made. So there's these openings now for Wendy Green's 4. First to Doreen Ryan, who got the lovely toucher as she did in the previous end. Now Huiraten. Selena Smith will look to get something on the head for her skip, Sandra Keith. This one stays out wide.
This went by on that wide side. Clear Huiraten, I would certainly endeavour now to get that consistency with putting another bowl in there for her skip. Wendy Green holding 2 was the indication from Kirsten Edwards, and just going to drift past on that wider side. It's behind the head.
Of course, Wendy Green's 4, very much the local favourites, aren't they? Against the star-studded Sandra Keith 4. Keith, Smith and Bruce, all past or present New Zealand internationals. Claire Hendra, member of the New Zealand development team. Age group international for New Zealand.
Good response here from Selena Smith. Drawing second shot.
Yeah, very good second there from Selena Smith. So it's the locals. Bay of Plenty against the composite North Island, South Island team for the best female bowlers in the country.
So good response here by Lynette McIntosh just not going to quite get under the jack level line, but certainly in around it. So the call from Sandra Keith, you can search for the bowl, which is what Claire Hendrick will endeavour to do.
Of course, Claire Hendrick, Selena Smith and Taylor Bruce were all in the pairs final at the Summerset National Singles and Pairs at the start of the year in Christchurch. As Claire Hendrick in the end just knocks away what was the second shot.
So change of hand for Lynette McIntosh. Holding one is the Wendy Green skip side.
If they can get rid of that bowl, they'll have a few.
Certainly, it's in a. You're right, Brenna. There's at least, I'd say, 4 there as we watch this bowl of McIntosh. And this is a very good bowl. This, if it just sat outside that bowl that we were talking about.
Great effort. Player with a number of Bay of Plenty titles. You were telling me 15. Wendy Green, 23, I think you were saying earlier. So vastly experienced players in Bay of Plenty. Along with Taha Club.
So Sandra Keith, need to work out what weight. So reaching weight, because Sandra Keith is saying, well, if we get the bowl, we're not going to get our bowl as well. Safer if you're going to play with weight. Certainly the safer side to search for the bowl, not on the other hand. So here is Claire Hendrick with Wendy Green holding the shot, playing with weight to try and get to the shot bowl, and it's going to go under the head. And as you rightly said as well, now bringing the opportunity early on in this with the skip, if Wendy Green can get 2 turns out of that second shot bowl through the head, she could easily make possibly 4 shots. And needs 2 rolls that bowl. So having a conference in the
skip and the number 3, Annette McIntosh and Wendy Green. Of course, Annette McIntosh will now call the shots from the head. Skips on the mat. Other 2 teammates and Doreen Ryan and Huia Ratana standing at the back of the rink.
So Wendy Green now on that backhand side, certainly there's a scoring opportunity on the backhand. Holding 1, trailing 5-2 after 4 of the 18 ends. Breaking down towards the head now. How far is it going to come back? Certainly, it's a shot that endeavouring to play.
Just slides by. And Sandra Keith, who stayed down at the head to see what their situation would be after the first bowl from Wendy Green. Now making her way back to the mat. Got the 2 men's 4s semi-finals on at the same time. It's now Mike Kernahan 8, Shannon McElroy 2 after 7 of the 18 ends, and Mike Carroll 6, Gary Lawson 3 after 6 of the 18 ends of their semi-final. Sandra Keith with reaching weight to try and get to the head, but this one's on the wide side and it's not gonna disturb the head.
So Lynette McIntosh indicating the Wendy Green. Draw down here on the backhand. This bowl certainly looks to have less weight than the first bowl, that's for sure. And it will, as it pulls up underneath the head, short by 1 metre and a bit. Whether Sandra Keith can actually see that bowl now, I'm not sure, but Sandra Keith will still endeavour to attack it on the forehand side.
Don't think she likes it. After letting it go, a bit of a shake of the head. And again, it's not too dissimilar from a previous one on the wide side, so One more for Wendy Green. 5-3 now after 5 of the 18 ends. This is the final of the women's fours here at the Summerset Nationals at Bowls, Mount Maunganui. Beautiful day. And showing what they're capable of. Wendy Green's 4, scoring on back-to-back ends. After Sandra Keith's quartet got off to a fast start.
Jack's been delivered by Doreen Ryan, and it's certainly really deep down towards the 2 metre
right
mark.
On the 2 metre mark again. I think I saw a bit of a shake of her head as she delivered that jack, so I don't think that's exactly where she wanted it.
So on the backhand is Doreen Ryan from the Taupo Club, holder of 4 Bay of Plenty titles herself, and just going to go by with a wee bit too much weight. Drops into the ditch. Taylor Bruce now on her forehand. Looks to be on that pretty consistent line and weight that we have seen from Taylor Bruce.
Well, it's made its way back to the centre line, but it's a bit short. Not quite the weight to be on the jack.
So that door open again for Dawn Ryan, which she took advantage of on that last end, and of course drew the shot. Just trying to get past the Taylor Bruce front bowl, and in fact is going to run into the Bruce bowl.
Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't far away. Need to be slightly bit wider than that, and then that would have been on track for the jack.
Need to be just that bowl wider, as we see Taylor Bruce, that very, very deliberate delivery, never changes, stays down on a line. That's why gets that consistency, but this may be going a bit quick, and it is.
Yeah, overcorrection there with the weight. After being short with the first, obviously it's been promoted since by Doreen Ryan. And then too much weight with the second. So another rare mistake from Taylor Bruce is Huia Latana. Number 2 for Wendy Green, excuse me. Of course, Wendy Green, winner over the defending champions.
Good ball here from the number 2 from the green side and draws. In fact, a front toucher sits virtually right in front of the jack. Very, very good ball there from the number 2. So
yeah, pats on the back from Doreen Ryan and Lynette McIntosh. They enjoyed that at the back of the green.
Selena Smith now one down on the head, leading 5-3. How's the weight coming down towards the head now? Has it got enough? No, it won't. We'll get past the Taylor Bruce bowl. In fact, virtually sits on the Bruce bowl. So we'll see now again. Clear. Huida Ratner will come on that backhand side. The bowl sitting right on the jack. Very good opening bowl on this, the 6th end. Just going past us now. Just wonder how the weight is again here. Looks pretty good if it gets past the front, and how far it comes back. And Wendy Green quite happy with that.
Oh, it's good enough for second probably at the moment. Near level.
So here now is Claire Smith. Looks to have more weight. Gets up towards and just ran into the front bowl. It's on a different line. (7-3) now. I can tell you Mike Carroll leads Gary Lawson after 7 of 18 ends. 7-3 in that semi-final.
Yeah, I think it's 9-2. Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McRoy after 8 ends of that men's semi-final.
So we see now Lynette McIntosh, the bowler's not going to stay up. In fact, just rolls into the ditch. 5-3 to Sandra Keith with the Wendy Green side holding shot, and just indicating to Claire Hendra how much those bowls in front are away. So
obviously so difficult to tell from the mat with the jack almost covered.
Just wonder about that weight. No, it's not going to. It's going to run into where all those, the vicinity of all those short bowls. So Wendy Green saying to her number 3, I think McIntosh, let's get it out on the wide side. Just let it draw. This looks a better line, this bowl from Lynette McIntosh. Is going to stay up, is it? Going to stay right on the ditch board, is it? Yes, it does.
In almost. Yeah, so that's still in play. If the jack moves.
So here now is Claire Hendra playing her second bowl on this, the 6th end. And definitely the Wendy Green side holding, as we see the Claire Hendra bowl now going past the head, and it travels, and just the 1 is the indication from the market, Kirsten Edwards. So it's the shot right on the jack, which is the shot.
So the bowls just that are short, one of them, it must be, I think Taylor Bruce bowl would be deemed the second.
Looks as
in
though
favour over the wide
side
bowl.
Yeah, it looks like it,
right.
Brenton. Yeah.
It certainly looks like on our screen, but the screen can often, the angles can be deceiving.
There's not much for either skip, in fact, to play to. Just actually the draw is there. There's not really, we wouldn't think any other shots on. Is Wendy Green will play down on her forehand. As Kirsten Edwards indicated, holding 1. And Lynette McIntosh, she's looking at this bowl closely as this breaks down towards the head. This looks to be in the counting area and comes up towards where the shot bowl is and sits, in fact, right on top of the shot bowl, as you can see.
Well, obviously Wendy Green saw something to work with.
She sure did. Just the dead draw, well played by
Sandra Keith, another very good draw player. She beat that. She try and sit on the shot bowl.
It's on a good line. How far is it going to come back towards the jack? Certainly on a good line. Finishes jack level. So you would have heard Lynette McIntosh say the bowl, in fact, is a jack, 1 bowl jack low, but still doesn't affect the shot that Wendy Green will play. Not sure how the weight is this time. A bit die on weight.
Yeah, unfortunate there. One to forget. After a great first bowl for Wendy Green to draw a good second. So, chance to level the scores here unless Sandra Keith can come up with something special.
But certainly, it's on a narrower line now. This bowl, as it breaks towards the head, got to get past the front, but won't.
So we'll be 2 to Wendy Green. We're all tied up. 5 apiece after 6 now of the 18 ends. So the first stanza, Kevin Hickland, is completed in this women's final, and we're all tied up. And I must say, a very good fight back from Wendy Green, who you would say are the underdogs in this game against Sandra Keith, with all the international experience they're able to call on. And after jumping to a 5-1 lead, Wendy Green should be very happy. They're all tied up after the first 6 ends.
Oh, certainly are. And, they've been in trouble a couple of times and managed to get out of it, just get second shot or whatever, and scored a 1 and a 1 and a 2 on the last 3 ends, and here we are at 5-all. So, you're right in the game as we finish that first 6 ends, and they'll now be looking to try and just hold get that consistency in their play. And the interesting thing that we have seen, especially the last couple of ends, that we've seen possibly Taylor Bruce not quite what we've seen earlier on, as we see the first bowl from Doreen Rogers fall short, the jack right on the 2 metre mark. So Taylor Bruce, you can hear a bit of breeze, and not significant breeze, but a bit of wind blowing through the green.
Just a nice cooling breeze.
Cooling
Kevin,
breeze,
especially for us in the commentary tent here, even though we're sheltered already compared to everyone else who's just out in the elements.
So Taylor Bruce falls short. Should be disappointed with that, because each time we've seen that, Doreen Rogers with her second bowl has taken advantage of that and has drawn fairly close to the jack.
Yeah, Doreen Ryan's been very good with her second bowl.
Certainly has been. And if you watch this
Doesn't
one,
look far away here either. Probably a bit too wide. It's asking a lot for that to come all the way back. And usually when it hangs out there, it doesn't come back much. Yeah, looks to have decent weight, and it's just short of being jack level. But not quite the right line. Asked too much of it. Now Taylor Bruce with her second. Can she make the adjustment after being short with her first? Certainly looks like she's got better weight here.
hanging short. No, still going to be a metre. May well be shot, but a metre away.
Yeah, certainly a shot. There's nothing else close from the first 4 bowls. So plenty of space for Huia Latsana, the number 2 for Wendy Green, and also the number 2 for Sandra Selena Smith to work into.
Well, Claire Huia Ratana, the last couple of ends played some very couple of handy bowls, but this time it's going to go past too quickly. So now for Selena Smith. Got a good metre to get to the jack. On a backhand.
Halfway through the quarter-final between Mike Kernahan and Shannon McElroy. That's good. Excuse me. Kernahan leading 10-2. Gary Lawson and Mike Carroll in the other semi-final. Mike Carroll leading 7-5 after 8 ends.
So we see again that second bowl of Claire Huia-Ratana go by into the ditch, as did the first bowl of Selena Smith on this full length head right to the 2 metre mark. So Selena Smith with her second will certainly be endeavouring to beat the Taylor Bruce bowl and draw down to the jack, but that's going to be really short. It's sort of like 8 to 10 feet short. So here's the big chance of Lynette McIntosh. There's plenty of room, Brent, isn't there? There's
nothing close really. That Taylor Bruce second bowl, but close to the lot, and that's a good metre and a half short.
So we watch this bolt of Lynette McIntosh go past us here. And that too, it might get past the Taylor Bruce for shot.
It's pretty handy here.
Might get there for shot, and it is. That's the indication from her skip from Wendy Green. Still a metre though for Claire Hendra on that backhand side to draw the shot.
Certainly from our camera, just behind the green, look much between those bowls. That bowl from Lynette McIntosh and that Taylor Bruce bowl out to the right. Playing on the backhand side is
looks
Claire
a better
Hendra.
bowl here from Claire Hendra. It's going to get past the Bruce bowl. Yes, it will. That's the shot. Sits virtually jack level.
Well, it's the first bowl that's managed to reach the jack and stay on the green. Everything else has been short. So
here now is Lynette McIntosh from the Ngongata Heart Club, holder of 15 Bay of Plenty titles. Her bowl breaks towards the head now, trying to get back to that centre line. If it does, would make shot. It's a clap from Wendy Green. It falls over, and the indication from it is the 1-2. It was the shot bowl that went in, that second bowl of Lynette McIntosh's. So Claire Hendra now on her backhand.
Still plenty of space though, isn't there?
A lot of space really, Brenton, yeah, there is.
You can play confidently on both hands as well.
It's a good draw. You can see that
This
on
one's
either
got
hand.
too much weight. I think that might be finding its way into the ditch. It is from Claire Hendra. So now it's the turn of the skips. And probably both of them are saying, well, just draw to the jack.
Well, we saw the bowler of Annette McIntosh. There's a nice finish on that arc drawing into the jack. She's, with her second bowl came back. It's really the only bowl that's come back to the centre line, Brenton, and is shot. So you know, even though it's a full length head, you can draw back to that centre line. As the crowd sitting here in the sunshine at Mount Maunganui this afternoon, enjoying this finals afternoon of the Summerset National Fours. Already, of course, we've had the singles in pairs held earlier on in Christchurch, where we saw Andrew Kelly win the men's singles and Caitlin Inch win the singles, beating Joe Edwards, and then with Selena Smith win the pairs, defeating Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra. And in the men's four pairs, we saw Raymond Martin win the pairs, and over that of Andrew Kelly. So this is the last of the national titles. So here is now Sandra Keith. I think that's got the weight, has it? No, it hasn't.
Obviously a chance for Selena Smith here to do a double with both the pairs and the fours title. And obviously she and Caitlin Inch beat her fours partners in Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra. So 3 of the 4 protagonists from the pairs final here representing Sandra Keith in the fours final.
Good bowl here, the jack level bowl, but doesn't get, I thought it was going to come back far enough, but Kirsten Edwards straight away indicated no, hasn't come back far enough. So here now is Sandra Keith on the backhand, 1 down to the number 3 bowler, Annette McIntosh, and behind the head as we see this bowl now of Sandra Keith.
Too much.
Needs to get contact on
stop.
something. It's not.
So there's nothing really close, but 1 to Kirsten Edwards. Well, certainly got Kirsten Edwards just 1 and confirmed. Well, Kirsten Edwards knew that about 30 seconds ago, but the players themselves have worked it out. And it is 1 to Wendy Green. So 6-5, Wendy Green leading Sandra Keith. So as we mentioned previous end, good fight back after they were 5-1 down. Wendy Green's forward now 6-5 up after 7 of the 18 ends. This is the final, the women's final of the Summerset Nationals here at Bowls, Mount Maunganui. We have the 2 men's semi-finals in progress. Mike Kernahan leading 10-2 over Shannon McElroy after 9 of the 18 ends. And Mike Carroll leading Gary Lawson 7-5 after 8 of their 18 ends. Of course, the winners of those 2 semi-finals will be playing in the decider from 3:30 or thereabouts this afternoon. So make sure you stick with us here on Sky Sport next. Absolute bevy of bowls to watch today. We had the women's fours semi-final earlier, and that was Sandra Keith getting the better of Debbie White, 20-12. And now women's final to be followed by the men's title decider. Well short with their first, Doreen Ryan will need to make the adjustment. As Taylor Bruce is also short with her first, but closer to the centre line. And this one looks narrow. Certainly more weight. Is she going to run into that Taylor Bruce bowl? Gets fortunate. Very fortunate as it trails back towards the jack and sits about close to a metre short.
Very fortunate really with that bowl of Doreen Ryan's. Was certainly going to run under the head with narrow weight, but made contact with the Taylor Bruce bowl. Thus made shot of it. We watch this bowl of Taylor Bruce is trying to get past the bowl of Doreen Ryan's, and is it going to? No, it's not. Just falls on top of the bowl. Look to have a good track. Look to get to it now. Interestingly, seeing now Claire Huiratana going to her forehand side, playing up towards the port end here, because to date the backhand has been her preferred hand. So to change a hand, and looks to be on a reasonably good line. And Wendy Green, the skip, is interested in it, but not going to.
Just urging it on. I think it needs a bit more weight to get past those two. So almost back to the centre line. So
needed another metre, didn't it, Brenton?
Yeah, the green was good, but you needed, like you say, good metre, a bit more weight to make the shot of it. Selena Smith on the mat, lucky to miss out on the Blackjack squad for the World Championships. No doubt we'll see a lot more of her representing New Zealand though.
Oh, this isn't certainly the finish of Selena Smith. I'm sure she'll be back wearing that silver fern. As we see Claire Huiratana now, just needed a metre of weight on her first bowl. Breaking down towards the head now. Is it going to run into her own bowl? No, it goes past, in fact, and gets the jack.
Gets the jack.
And remains shot, doesn't quite go all the way back to the Selena Smith bowl, and this will be challenging now because that bowl's been moved way off the centre lines, a bit of wind running through there.
Yeah, so the bowl now sitting right underneath the green on our graphic. Here you go, as we panned out. And you can see the jack nice and clearly.
Selena Goddard, Selena Smith endeavouring to play that forehand round past the bowls and draw jack level to get the shot. Key thing is here to make sure that draw out, deliver it out on the wide side and let the bowl work from there. As you play it on the narrow side, you'll certainly just run away. Looks to be fairly good if it gets past these front bowls. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, quite a big wall developing there as well.
Well, you know, the scoring shot's obviously on now for the Wendy Green side to play on where there's no traffic, nothing to run into. They've got a clear draw on that backhand side.
Playing to a tricky part of the green though.
Certainly
haven't
is.
had to play before with the jack having been moved well out to the side. See how Annette McIntosh adjusts here. Look narrow.
It's going to run away.
It's going to stay on the green just, I think. Yes, just falls in.
So Claire Hendra now, important thing for Claire Hendra is to make sure she has width on her. Now if you see, Brendan, what we were talking about earlier or yesterday, in fact, about starweed greens, here's a good attempt here from Claire Hendra. How's that weight? If you look out in front of us now, you can see the dome of the starweed right out in front of us here, and right out here you can see that's the dome of the starweed, and that's what tends to get up, which you don't actually get on a Coachella green. And when the green starts to quicken up, you'll start to see in this middle it starts to sheen up, and that's where that speed becomes, that pace of the green becomes very, very tricky. So short is that bowl from Annette McIntosh. You don't get that same appearance on the green with a Coachella or a Manutato green. It's a habit of starweed.
It's very difficult for them playing to this area of the green, so at this time Claire Hendra deciding on to play with weight and try and get a bit of the jack and take it into the ditch. Wasn't far away there.
Well, the option there, you know, tell story, is it easier to try and get the jack in the ditch or draw? Because the back bowl there is in fact the Claire Hendra bowl, and of course another one is Selena Smith's is also in behind there. So not a bad shot attempt, because it's as you rightly said, Brendan, the jack's moved well off the centre line. We're on a full length head. We're playing through foreign territory, and therefore it becomes difficult to get your, that weight and green correct.
That's what you're talking about, Kevin.
Yeah, there you can see it clearly there, and it does on Starweed. It certainly makes a difference as the green speeds up. As we see this first bowl here of Wendy Greens, and has to get well past the front bowls to have a chance to count, and it's going to do just that.
Very good
in
effort.
fact, well,
it's going to be well short, but
still one only, and that'll change the shot, no doubt. Of still asking, do we have 2 seconds? The option is the jack, not the shot bowl. We might, not sure what shot to play is Sandra Keith on the backhand, and is playing with weight to try and get to the jack or the shot bowl. Gets the jack clean into the ditch. That's a shot that we spoke about, Brendan, that was on.
Wonderfully executed. Rightly applauded by the crowd in attendance here at Bowls Mount Wanganui.
Does make 3, as we thought. We saw there Kirsten Edwards straight away put the lollipops up. Played, some people would say, the low percentage shot, but if at the end of the day, if you've got a chance of scoring 1 or 3 on a very tricky drawing environment, you would go for it.
I think it's more a high percentage shot, and where the jack is placed. If it was on the centre line, different story. But where it was, and how, she'd seen so many people try and draw towards it. I don't think that's got enough of a favourable touch there to change the situation. So Kirsten Edwards still indicating 3, our marker. You may recognise that name because, of course, New Zealand International Kirsten Edwards, champion of this event last year, playing at 3 for Mandy Boyd. We lost to Wendy Green, though, yesterday in the quarterfinals, and giving up her time to be the marker.
Oh, it's a good bowl from Sandra Keith. She gets past that. She makes 4 of that. That's 2 magnificent bowls by the skip.
What a turnaround that is. 4 confirmed by Kirsten Edwards. So 9-6 it is now. That was after Wendy Green's 4 was holding shot. That magnificent driving the jack into the ditch where they had all the back bowls. Did Sandra Keith, but then to draw another within there to make it 4. Very, very impressive from the skip. 9-6 now after 8 of the 18 ends.
Yeah, well played there by Sandra Keith. She had Claire Hendra with her second bowl to have a run at the jack to try and get it into the ditch. Didn't do so. Sandra Keith back with her first bowl after Wendy Green made no difference. The head took up that opportunity. And you notice now, Brenton, that the Taylor Bruce has, the mat's been pulled up, further up. And jack is under the 2 metre mark, so we're certainly playing what I would say the more comfortable length for the Sandra Keith skip side.
This has been our road to the final as well. Sandra Keith and Wendy Green, as you see, got here. So Sandra Keith overcame Margaret O'Connor in the quarterfinals yesterday. Debbie White in our feature match this morning in the semi-finals to make it through to this women's 4s final, while Wendy Green beat Mandy Boyd, as I said, the defending champion, and was looking for a 3-peat of titles, Mandy Boyd. And then this morning beat the Newland combination of Denise West to make it through to where we are now after 8 of 18 ends in the women's 4s final.
And of course men's semi-finals as well being played. Gary Lawson up against Mike Carroll. Mike Kernahan playing Shannon McElroy. And in the Lawson-Carroll game, the board is just about to be changed. And it was, we'll see Gary Lawson that scored.
Yeah, I think they've taken the lead. So they were, I think, what, 7-2 down or 7-3 down at one stage. So now they're 13-7 up. So there's been quite some turnaround. That's after 10 of the 18 ends in that quarter-final, and in the other, semi-final, and the other men's semi-final, it is Mike Kernahan who is leading Shannon McElroy 10-5 after 10 of the 18 ends.
It was a 16 just scored by Gary Lawson on that last end, I believe. Is that 13 now, is it?
Yes. So was it
7-all? It was 7-all playing that end, as we see now. Taylor Bruce draws shot. Another good bowl as well from Doreen Ryan, just finished. Jack Level, and indication from Wendy Green to hurt number 2, Claire Huiratana, with a different length because the mat has certainly changed. Mat's been pulled up the rink by Taylor Bruce as Wendy Green's watching this bowl as it's breaking down towards the head. Got to get past the front short bowl, draws underneath it, and that should make shot for the Bay of Plenty side, and it is as indicated by Kirsten Edwards. The halfway mark, playing end 9. Here is the bowl of Selena Smith. Just going to slightly under green sits Jack Level. And just looking to see from Kirsten Edwards if there's any change. Can't see, no indication. So Claire Huiratana play her second bowl. May well be still holding the 1.
I think it's pretty tight between those two. Potentially a measure from Selena Smith's last, and Huiratana her first.
So indication is from Sandra Keith has played the end of the bowl as well, so she's not sure either. So here is now Claire Hendra after that big 4 scored by Sandra Keith on that last end. Now we might get an indication from Kirsten Edwards. She's not sure either. 1 to the Sandra Keith side. It is that the Selena Smith bowl that was just moved fractionally by Claire Hendra and made shot of it. So Lynette McIntosh now will try and draw down to those bowls and is going to come up short of the scoring area. Claire Hendra now on her forehand. Indication, as you say, from lollipops from Kirsten Edwards, that it is the shot being held by the Sandra Keith side. And Sandra Keith urging this bowl on. Certainly a tighter head now, Brenton, with that Jack being more of a shorter length, isn't it?
It's a more comfortable sort of distance, isn't it, I think, for both 4s. So a lot more, obviously, bowls on the green, but also bowls in the area as well.
So don't forget, immediately after, or soon after this women's 4s final, we'll be bringing you the men's 4s final. And look, we don't know, of course, yet who's going to be in those finals, but we've certainly got, I think, 4 of the 4 top quality sides out there in the men's 4s, and we'll certainly be bringing to you, McElroy versus Kernahan, one semi-final. Couldn't get much better than those two. And of course, Gary Lawson up against a very well performed Mike Carroll of Wellington. So certainly be, whoever it may be, will certainly be a great 4s final. But at this stage, at the halfway mark, this being the 9th end, it is Sandra Keith's side who is leading 9 shots to 6 over Wendy Green, as Sandra Keith will now play her first bowl. Holding the shot was the indication from Kirsten Edwards. Playing with searching weight here is Keith, trying to get to the bowl of the red bowl of number 2.
I may have got a bit fortunate there. Ran to a short one and then it trailed it into the area to now be the second.
Makes 2 of it now with that, let's say, fortuitous slide. Wendy Green quickly into her work, also attacking to the head as well, and gets some, but that will still be, I'd say, 2 to the, might be 3 in fact now, Brenton, because that's Taylor Bruce out. What might be more than that, is it?
Yeah, could have got rid of the only bowl of her team in the area. Could actually be 4. Yeah,
That
4
is 4.
indicated by Kirsten Edwards.
Oh, that was pretty fateful, wasn't it? 2 down and just got the wrong bowl. Did Wendy
There was
Green?
a bowl to play, Wendy Green.
She'll be, I'm sure, drawing.
Oh, yeah, came down that option if it stays on the green, but it doesn't. Wanted the back bowl there, Sandra Keith, because Wendy Green does play with weight.
On the draw on that back end, trying to get down to the shot bowl, trying to get to the jack. It's going to go outside it with weight. Here's 2 big ends.
Yeah, back to back. Is it 2 4s in a row? Certainly that's what was indicated by Kirsten Edwards. 4 taken away. Are they thinking about doing a measure for the 5th? Yep, Claire Hendra is. So a big end here. 4 in the previous. There'll be at least 4 here. Is it 5?
There's a big end.
That's the question. Claire Hendra doing the honours. Working it out. These bowls closer than the Taylor Bruce bowl. It is 5. Big number. So 9 picked up on back-to-back ends for Sandra Keith. So 14-6. 14-6 the score. Sandra Keith over Wendy Green after 9 of the 18 ends. The halfway stage of this women's 4s final, and Kevin Hickland, it has blown wide open.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it really, it's come out of the blue, really. It's just, it was tight. And we had the Bay of Plenty side hit the front after end 7 at end 7, 6-5, and then, of course, that superb shot played by Sandra Keith when driving the jack into the ditch and then drawing another one herself, making 4 of it. And then we just saw a wayward bowl by Wendy Green when she was 2 down, dislodge her own bowls. Interesting here was seen now Taylor Bruce change her hand going up this way now, where she's been all day, both games that we've covered.
Well, she hasn't been quite as effective as
Correct.
she was earlier, so maybe she's decided, look, I've got to change things up here and try and see if I can have more consistency on the other hand.
Just struggling. She was struggling a bit, well, on both line and weight on that forehand side. So she thought, rightly thought, let's give the backhand a try and see whether I can get that line back to what it was before. And it looks as though just going to be running by, but certainly had that centre line. It comes back to the centre line.
Doreen Ryan has been pretty consistent with her second bowl. Most occasions, a bit of a shake of the head on top of the mat. Isn't sure about this one. Is it going to sit in front of those 2 Taylor Bruce bowls? It's not going to come back to that centre line. It'll stay out wide. Certainly better weight than the first, which went well past the head. Selena Smith looking for her second national title of the year. Less than 2 months after the first. Of course, in the pairs with Caitlin Inch, part of Caitlin Inch's double, beating great Joe Edwards in the singles final. And then beating Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra in the pairs final.
So Clear Huirana now down on the head. Just going to under green slightly. Selena Smith. It's fair to say a national force title and a national pairs title, should that come to be the outcome, would certainly highlight a very, very good year for Selena Smith, but still doesn't take away, I suppose, her disappointment of not making that World Bowl side. And we can but hope, though, that Selena Smith just puts that behind her, which I'm sure she'll do, and we'll certainly see her wearing the silver fern in future years.
Yeah, it's obviously very tough missing those major events, but it's good to see how, after that disappointment, focused on her play here. A key cog of the Sandra Keith 4, along with Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra.
So on the backhand now is Claire Hendra, and for her first national title. Sandra Keith, of course, already won her national titles, not on fours, but has won nationals before, as of course has Taylor Bruce, winning the fours with Joe Edwards back in 2014. Joe Edwards and Kirsten Edwards and Val Smith in New Plymouth, sorry, in 2017. They won that. And of course, that year as well, in 2017, Selena Smith, or Goddard as she was there, won the singles, defeating Reen Stratford in the final of the singles, and won the fours, playing the 3 in 2014. So this would be Claire Hendra's first national title.
We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I assume this would be Selena Smith's 4th. She hasn't won 2 pairs titles.
Just the one,
just
to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be a gold star quite yet, but you'd think that's just a matter of when, not if, Selena Smith.
So here's the bowler. Claire Hendra just got tangled up. Plenty of room out there for sure. Remember, of course, we've got the men's semi-finals as well underway. Mike Kernahan v Shannon McElroy and Gary Lawson versus Mike Carroll. And as Brendan indicated just a few moments back, it was Lawson leading in that match. 13 shots to 7 after 10 ends. And the Kernahan score, I'm sure Brendan might be able to update you on that. There's another end I know being completed.
Yeah, after 12 now, it is Mike Kernahan 11, Shannon McElroy 7. So Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McElroy 11-7 after 12 of the 18 ends.
Well, there's still plenty left in that game at 11-7. Still, as there is in the other semi-final as well. Only played 10 ends, so here now is Sandra Keith as we play this, the 10th of 18 ends. Just not going to come back enough, is it? Yes, it is. That's a shot itself. Draws and alongside Jack. And that's 3, Brenton. So there's plenty of room here for Wendy Green. But got to play through around these front bowls. 3 down was the call. And in fact, sits on one of what was the counting bowls and may have reduced that now to 1. But definitely the Sandra Keith bowl is the shot. So here is now Sandra Keith on her forehand. Again on that similar line to her first. And how's the weight going to be? But it's the line that she drew on. Not quite going to run all the way to the jack.
No, not the weight that was necessary. Looked on a pretty distant line.
So here now on the backhand is Wendy Green imperative that they score, because and they're going to come under the head, and they won't.
So extending the lead, Sandra Keith just waiting confirmation of whether it is one or more. They knock away one. That was the Sandra Keith bowl you were mentioning, Kevin. Now, is it more than one? I think we're going to do a measure. It's going to be, again, Claire Hendra, so often volunteered to do the measure. First going to the back bowl, now going to bowl out to the side. And it's just a one. It's another one though to Sandra Keith, so 15-6 it is now after 10 of the 18 ends. Sandra Keith leading Wendy Green. And after 6 ends it was Wendy Green leading by 1-6-5, so quite some change in this match.
Well, it certainly is, and it's I know we're just over the halfway mark, but Wendy Green, of course, endeavouring to get back into this match. And you know, we talk about the 6 end segments, and we've seen of 4 of those ends have been played in the second segment. It was after the first 6 ends, 5 all. We've now seen the Sandra Keith side score 10 to the 1 of Wendy Green as we start end 11, and once it comes to end 12, it's just, if the scoreboard sort of remains like that, it's sort of lock up side time for the Sandra Keith side, just to make sure, well, we're only going to drop a 1 or.
Yeah, that's the thing. Wendy Green, I think you start to look at her 4 and think they probably need to pick up at least 4 on the next couple of ends combined to make it 5 shots going into the last 6 to give
absolutely they need to be
some real belief, because I know how difficult it is against this very high caliber, well performed quartet.
So it's interesting that Taylor Bruce is elected to change on both ways now, and must feel more comfortable now. Played enough ends to say, look, I'm struggling a bit on that other hand. She'll change again, and the good news is for the Wendy Green side is that leaves the opportunity for them to try and get some control of the head early on. So as we watch this bolt of Doreen Ryan's breaking down towards the head now, it's going to come under the head and will in fact be shot, but still plenty of room for Selena Smith, who's going to also play on that forehand. And if I'm looking right now, that Lawson board is now 17-7.
It is indeed.
After 11.
So what, you believe it was 7 apiece after 9. So yeah, how that game has changed in just 2 ends. 10 scored by Gary Lawson. So 17-7. They are in control now of that men's 4s semi-final.
And of course, Lawson in pursuit of his 14th New Zealand title.
Yeah, trying to record extending 14th.
Yes, and he's. We all know how competitive he is, but before you even talk about that, one, you've got to continue the winning of the heads here, and whoever wins the other semi-final between McElroy and Kernahan will certainly present a tough 18-end challenge in that final. So
and that's tightened up as well. 11-7 it is now after 12 of the 18 ends. They're 2/3 of the way through that contest. And it's Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McElroy, 11-7.
So on the back end here is Claire Huia-Ratana down on the head, and just got to get past the front bowls. It's not going to, hasn't got the weight to get all the way down to the jack, so will remain the shot bowl of Taylor Bruce's. Now Claire Hendra playing down on the forehand, trying to get down underneath the Selena Smith bowl, and this has been well played by Claire Hendra. This is going to sit in fact right alongside the jack. And so Wendy Green saying to Lynette McIntosh, endeavour to get down to this front bowl, try and turn that through into the head. And this is going to be short of line and weight. Hard shots to play on these greens, Brenton, and with the wind blowing as well. Trying to play that push to the, like we see the Australians play that push and prod grain. Well, these greens are different to those Australian greens, so much more difficult to play, and you're better to play with real forcing weight if you want to turn bowls through, rather than just trying to reach the bowl, because the chances are, well, your options or percentages are certainly far lower. Now, she's asking Lynette McIntosh to try and, that's the idea, change your hand, I'd say. Too hard to try and draw around those front bowls to where the jack is. Try and better to play down where we saw Claire Hendra draw that bowl right alongside the jack on that forehand side. There's too many obstacles, I think, on that backhand with those front bowls. So here is now Lynette McIntosh trying to reach down. It just runs into another short bowl, and the Bay of Plenty side, Brendan, I don't like to say this, but they're certainly running into really challenging. They just can't get it. They just can't get enough bowls on the head.
No, and it's a different story to what it was earlier when Taylor Bruce was laying the platform. Now they were coming up with the odd bowl that was able to challenge, but they're just not able to get anything, like you say, in the area. And basically, with the position Sandra Keith's fours in, all they need to do is, as long as they get one or two close, they're dictating terms, and that's all they really need. They've got this big, comfy 9-shot cushion.
Well, they certainly don't have to be hunting for shots, do they, at this point in time, as we see this Sandra Keith bowl, and that's going to be short as well. And you know, Sandra Keith played a big bowl on that, the 8th end, which was the turning point in this match when she turned it into 4. And really, it's been the front, and more than likely the inability of the Wendy Green side to put pressure on, which has made the big difference. Wendy Green trying to get down to the jack, ran into the short bowls, and for every end that goes by, Brent, of course, that's an end that you're not scoring on, and you got to catch up on. So it's imperative for the Wendy Green side that they do start scoring. Here is the bowl. Oh, this is going to make it more challenging now. The jack did.
And Jack has moved back, and there's one of the bowls at the back from Wendy Green as well. So 2 indicated that Sandra Keith is holding.
Very little room to try and draw down, because there's bowls all in front, and so the only draw chance is down on the backhand. But I don't think he's going to, and that's the only, it looks as though that's the shot that Wendy Green is going to endeavour to try and play. A lot of bowls to draw around. She in fact is on the backhand going for the jack.
Oh, knocked away a shot bowl or 2. Might have actually ended up all right. Has it cut it to 1? Or has it grabbed the shot? It's just the 1. So another one to Sandra Keith. So now up by double digits. Sandra Keith 16, leading Wendy Green 6 after 11 now of the 18 ends. And Sandra Keith will be more than happy with that. Every time, if I keep picking up one, it's one more end. Wendy Green can't catch me.
I see I saw Mike Carroll and that Gary Lawson.
No, they just picked up a 4, I believe. So it was 17-7. It's now 17-11 after 12 of the 18 ends, and that men's fours semi-final. I think we've just seen a 4 picked up as well in the other men's semi-final, and that went the way of Mike Kernahan. So 15-7. He is now leading Shannon McElroy. Mike Kernahan over Shannon McElroy. So the way it's going, it's Kernahan Lawson in the final, but still several ends to be played in both. 6 in one, 5 in the other.
So good opening bowl by Taylor Bruce. The lead for Sandra Keith just finishes lower the jack. He just trying to get to the jack there was the Doreen Ryan, but ran by. So Taylor Bruce now on the backhand in pursuit of her second New Zealand fours title. Went in with Joe Edwards, Val Smith, Kirsten Edwards in New Plymouth. And of course in that same year, of course, we saw Selena Smith, Goddard then, beat Reen Stratford in the final of the women's singles, and Dale Rayner and Ashley Jeffcoat win the men's pairs. And that was when Dean Elgar won his first title, beating Blake Signal in the final of the men's. And Gary Lawson and Neville Rodder, who won the pairs that year in New Plymouth. And of course the fours, I can't remember who won the men's fours. So still Taylor Bruce holding the shot.
That wasn't the Ellie Forsyth, Gary Lawson here, maybe?
The fours was won by New Plymouth.
Blake Signal.
No, in New Plymouth it was won by Peter Ballas,
oh, yeah.
Richard Gervin, Blake Signal and Lance Tusker. They won the fours, and it was Blake Signal that got beaten in the final of the singles by Dean Elgar. So 16-6 as we play in 12.
And Bowls New Zealand's chief executive wants the seat of Kevin Hickland, so Kevin has to jump out. And the CEO wants to join the commentary team. He gets his wish. Playing the 12th end of 18. And this women's fours final here at the Summerset Nationals at Bowls Mount Maunganui. Claire Hendra playing on her forehand side, looking to come around that short Selena Smith bowl if she can, and certainly had that wider line but not the necessary weight, and ends up well short. As we welcome Bowls New Zealand Chief Executive Mark Cameron into commentary. Good afternoon, Mark. Splendid conditions here again at Bowls Mount Maunganui.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Just lovely weather, exactly what you'd expect out of the Bay of Plenty, I guess. A little bit of wind. You bring that up from Wellington, didn't you, Brenton?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Made sure that was here just to make me feel at home. How do you feel from watching from the side of the green and obviously talking to a lot of people? You happy with how the events panned out?
Yeah, the feedback's been really, really good. This, I think the venue helps. The Bay of Plenty, I think people were coming here and almost thinking, a little bit of a holiday destination. So I think the venue, the Bay of Plenty's worked really well. The club's been exceptional, Mount Maunganui Bowling Club. They're all out there decked in their shirts and helping and supporting, etc. So I think they've been exceptional, as have all the clubs over the past 3 or 4 days. So no, it's been good, and we're at the business end now, obviously, with this very important final, and then the men's to follow, and the quality's come through as well, isn't it?
So you certainly wouldn't say no to coming back here in the future. I know Bowls Mount Maunganui are pretty keen to some stage host again.
Oh, without a doubt, I think this is the right call for the fours. I think reality is now probably the singles pairs, given the number of greens required or clubs required. It's probably going to focus more on Auckland, Christchurch, maybe Wellington, but this fours event, geez, the wind is picking up a bit, isn't it? What's happening here?
It comes through in the afternoon.
Yeah.
This is, as I've been told by the locals, this is quite common. We get quite a lot of wind here at this venue, but it's nothing that the players can't deal with. Wendy Green currently holding shot. I think there's much relief that Wendy Green finally was holding shot after a bit of an onslaught from Sandra Keith in recent few ends.
Yeah, it was close in the tight in the first few ends, wasn't it?
It was 6-5 after just 4 ends ago.
So
4 or 5 ends
was
ago.
it a couple of big numbers? Sorry, I was obviously
4 and a 5 from Sandra Keith, and a couple of singles adding to that to get out to this big advantage, which they're in at the moment. Looking to close this one out. Sandra Keith win her maiden fours title. Promotion there of the Selena Smith Bowl. So she was after just checking to see if that bowl was still in play. As Wendy Green just going to have a little look with Lynette McIntosh. Still holding shot is Wendy Green. And they're going to have an umpire, I think, come in just to see whether that bowl out wide is still in play. Don't think it's really going to play a factor here, but I see an umpire just come in just at the back of pitcher to assess.
So, look, I don't know much about the Wendy Green four here. What have you learned in the past day or so?
Well, they're the local favourites. Nongataha, a lot of them play out of there. 3 of them play out of there. Also, a lot of them play out of the Taupō Club as well, where Doreen Ryan plays. They're their lead. Won a number of local titles. Wendy Green's won 23 Bay of Plenty titles. Lynette McIntosh 15.
Well, you have got the stats there, haven't you?
So, well, myself and Kevin have combined our efforts to find out a few. So,
been in a national final before?
Not that we know of.
Okay.
But obviously, records don't have them easy access. But yeah, it's great to see our local 4 represented on the stage. Obviously, the favourites are Sandra Keith's 4, given the international experience they were able to call on. But very early on in particular, has a promotion there. Now should make it 2, so that hasn't worked out well for Sandra Keith. Bit of an opening here for Wendy Green. See if she can possibly make it 3 here. That would get them right back in proceedings with still 6 ends to play after this. It's an important bowl. Playing on the backhand side, looks narrow, but playing that little planting weight if she can. Didn't quite work out. So it should be 2. It is 2 to Wendy Green on the 12th end. So it's now 16-8 after 12 of the 18 ends. This is the women's fours final. Sandra Keith leading Wendy Green. The men's fours final to follow. I'll give you an update from those semi-finals going on as well. And it's Gary Lawson who's leading Mike Carroll after 13 of the 18 ends, 20-11. And Mike Kernahan after 14 of the 18 ends, and his match is leading Shannon McElroy 15-9. It's 15-9 leading Shannon McElroy is Mike Kernahan. So that means fours final to follow from sometime after 3:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll be running the prize giving for the women's straight after this. So hopefully we'll be streaming or pick up some of that coverage.
We will indeed. There's a new shield as well for the women's fours.
There is, and for the men's actually as well. They're a very impressive looking. I'm going to say pieces of furniture, but that's probably the wrong word. Trophies, shields, beautiful, handcrafted. In the case of the men's, we've grabbed the old plaque from the Dominion Shield, which is 100 years old, and we've mounted it on this board. We've created a brand new board for the women's with all the history of the game in there. It's a sight to behold, and whoever wins this will be taking it back to their club, and it's got a nice mounting board as well, and I think that'll be certainly something something to be very, very proud of.
Yeah, so what are the story behind those 2 trophies? Obviously the Dominion Shield, an old trophy being brought back for the men, but the women's in particular, and everything built around the new men's trophy as well. How did that all come about?
Look, we looked at almost the trophy and the shields that we had in play. And well, in the case of the women's, actually the back of it, the names were full. It was full. So we had to do something anyway, and we thought, well, heck, let's actually step it up here. So we commissioned a chap out of Gisborne, actually. It's got a very Maori cultural feel to the shields as well as embracing the history. In the case of the men's, it was reasonably easy to bring in the Dominion aspect of it. When New Zealand, before we were born, even Brenton, when New Zealand was a Dominion, we were able to bring that aspect into the shield. In the case of the women's, it didn't quite have that same history. It's not 100 years; it's kind of 50 years. So we were able to pull that into it as well. We could tell you how many years, isn't it? I think
it might be 70 years for the women.
Yeah, 104 for the men.
Yeah.
So there's a heck of a lot of history, and there's a lot of big names on those trophies as well. So I think it's a nice addition. I can assure you the men's shield is extremely heavy to pick up. So
I look forward to that then,
yeah.
in the presentation, to see whoever the winning skipper is, to see if he can lift it first and foremost. And I understand also part of that Māori design is to symbolise the fours as well. That is a four-player event, obviously, not the singles or the pairs. It is different.
No, and that's the specialness of this event. And winning this trophy is, it's about your team and your teammates. It's not one person's activities or actions. It's a group of people, or a group of guys or ladies joining together to win a championship. So it's special, and I'm looking forward to seeing that being around for another 50, 100 years as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly creating a legacy with those two trophies. We'll see one of them handed out in the not too distant future, the completion of this women's fours final. Sandra Keith leading 16-8 on the 13th end of 18. I suppose it's not too far away, Mark. We announced where the next nationals is going to be held as well. Is that right? It's coming up soon.
Yeah. We put out interest tenders out last week. Look, I think realistically, singles pairs, I said before, will be Auckland, Christchurch, maybe Wellington. But the fours, it's been fantastic here at the Bay. I think it's the right sort of setting here. There's been talk of Central Otago next year. It'll be in the South Island, the fours more than likely. But most recent talk has been around Nelson Blenheim. Nelson
I know Kevin Hickland has already been pushing that case on air, in fact.
Yeah, all right. There's other people who have to be involved in that decision, but including Nelson Marlborough, I'd suggest.
I think he's very much leading that lobby group.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's all right, though. It's a lovely part of the country, and I can understand why Kevin would want to be in Nelson Marlborough this time of year as well.
I think you can see the logic behind all of those places you just mentioned. You mentioned Central Otago, you mentioned Nelson Marlborough, and you mentioned here obviously Bay of Plenty, all quite sunny areas at this time of year.
Yep.
Places that people would like to go to.
Yeah.
So certainly destination places.
Oh, I think there's that holiday aspect to it too. So that when you're down here, you don't quite perform in the bowls, and you can still get out and about and enjoy the country, enjoy the restaurants, enjoy the other activities that take place in town. So it's a positive.
So I suppose in a month or so you probably make those kind of announcements. You think once all the areas have come back and say they want to host or we can't or whatever.
In the meantime, though, we've got what have we got coming up? The North versus South Island.
Yeah, National
Inter-Centre. We've got secondary schools. We've got Interclub Sevens is back on the agenda. Champ of Champs. Blackjacks. Bowls 3-5.
Yeah.
Blackjacks heading to the World Champs. So that's there's a lot of activity and a lot of TV, and that's what we're talking now. I mean, I was commenting to someone before. We refer to this now as we keep saying we're doing the live streaming. In actual fact, we're putting on TV now.
Well, exactly right.
Live streaming was what we did 2 years ago when we were on Facebook and we had a camera and Kevin would walk behind the camera and commentate to it. Now we're producing TV. Look, we must do a count at some stage, but I'm pretty sure we're up to about a dozen events now on the calendar that we are televising at this sort of level. and allow me to do my CEO thing, which is a couple of shout outs. One's to Sky Sport and Sky Sport Next. It's a platform for sports like us to really showcase our activity to the wider sports community. So it's fantastic in that regard. And stuff.co.nz. And I'd be neglectful if I didn't also acknowledge Summerset and their support of this event and bowls in general around the country. So yeah, I've done my CEO thing now, have I?
I think so.
Yeah.
You've done it well. Obviously, it wouldn't be possible, and really now an unprecedented amount of television coverage of bowls, which is great to see. Obviously, through the new Sky Sport Next platform, which we are broadcasting to you now on.
Have they given you a nickname yet for your commentator? Like, have you got BVM or have you got a?
Do we need? Is that what we need? Do you reckon? Do we need nicknames?
Yeah. I don't know. You haven't quite got the. Maybe we need to think about this one actually.
Okay.
We'll put it out there on Facebook.
Right. Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Oh, you're following. Well, we'd have Ian Dickinson, Stu Scott. I'm not saying Kevin Hickland's is the past because he's still the current, but Kevin Hickland. And now Brenton Van Nistelrooy.
Well, I don't know
at the bowls.
Much. Yeah, absolutely. BV at the bowls.
BV at the bowls.
Yeah.
There we go. BV at the bowls. Sounds like a bevy at the bowls.
Well, we do have a bevy of bowls today. We do. That's a great bowl. Laid down there by Sandra Keith to grab the shot for her side and extend that advantage again. So 17-8 it is now after 13 of the 18 ends.
Well, that's the danger of having me in commentary, isn't it, Brenton or BV, is that we're missing the bowls, and obviously Sandra's side is continuing to deliver.
Yeah, well, you'll no doubt have a trophy to present very shortly, so we better leave you to it and let Kevin Hickland return and wherever he is and call the last few ends of this match. Thank you very much for joining us. Commentary, Mark?
Well, I'm going to leave, but we can't see Kevin anywhere, can we?
That's all right. Okay.
Maybe he's been... Yeah, you'll be fine. You call the rest.
Unless you want to, of course, stay and just commentate the rest.
No, I can take the subtle hint quite well. Thank you. I thank you, BB. I thank you for your support here as well. And Ben and Tamara.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely superb.
Yeah, wonderful team that we have here. Thank you very much to Mark Cameron, Chief Executive of Bowls New Zealand. Very much a key man behind this increased broadcasting coverage of bowls. This is the second of 3 games we're bringing you on this final day of the Summerset National Fours. We had a women's fours semi-final, Sandra Keith beating Debbie White earlier this morning. Now this women's fours final, title decider, playing for that brand new trophy in what is the 70th women's fours competition. And then we will have the men's fours decider to follow on as well. At the moment, it is Gary Lawson against Mike Kernahan. Gary Lawson leading Mike Carroll 21-11 after 14 of the 18 ends in that contest. And Mike Kernahan leading 15-9 after 14 of the 18 ends in that men's fours semi-final. Still a bit of time, especially for Shannon McElroy to come back in his match. And will continue to fight against his Blackjacks teammate. So Shannon McElroy would love an opportunity against Gary Lawson. No doubt Mike Kernahan will feel the same. And the match we're covering here, Sandra Keith just looking to close this one out to win her maiden national fours title. Selena Smith playing there, trying to win her second of the year. Obviously took out the Peers title earlier this year at Papanui Club in Christchurch, along with Caitlin Inch, who did the double on that occasion. Took out the singles and the pairs. Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra, who were beaten finalists in the pairs. Trying to go one better here, this time with Selena Smith. But you can guarantee that Doreen Ryan, Huia Ratana, Lynette McIntosh, Wendy Green are going to give in here. They'll continue to fight. They'll continue to believe they can come back and raise this 9-shot deficit. After this, 4 ends remain. So time is running out, the clock is ticking. There's Huia Ratana. Looking to just get around her previous bowl and does, but still not quite enough weight to make it to Jack and be a counting bowl. Really needed to be inside her previous bowl, really, you think, to make its way to the Jack. Now playing slightly narrower line is Claire Hendra. She's just going to slide underneath the Jack. That will be enough for shot though, so it's now 2 that Sandra Keith's side is holding and is piling the pressure on Wendy Green's quartet. Lynette McIntosh now playing on the forehand, trying to just come around those Selena Goddard bowls, but she's going to be well short, getting back to the centre line, but a few metres short of the target. Claire Hendra wasn't far away with her last. This time trying to find the gap in between that wide red bowl and the Selena Smith bowl. Slightly still on the wide side. It's going to finish almost Jack level. It still might be enough for a third, you know. So big job to come for the skip Wendy Green, unless Lynette McIntosh can draw the shot here, and that's exactly what she does. Much needed. That's a toucher as well, back toucher. Lovely bowl from Lynette McIntosh. Great adjustment from the number 3 for Wendy Green. Sandra Keith holding shots and nothing really in the area for Wendy Green. She now is going to make her way back to the mat. Much more positive frame of mind, something to work with, and instead of trying to find how she can potentially get a shot, she's now going to try and work out how she can turn it into a multiple, trying to eat into this deficit. Sandra Keith will be first to play. So it looks like it is over in one of the men's semi-finals, and they're playing the 16th end where Mike Carroll, Gary Lawson. Gary Lawson led by 12, and they've decided enough is enough, and Gary Lawson is through to another final and has bid to win his 14th national title and extend his record, playing with Jamie Hill, Caleb Hope and Sheldon Bagri Howley. They are through to the final, which we will be bringing to you later this afternoon, as weighted effort comes in from Wendy Green. She tries to add to the count, comes up empty. So will Gary Lawson be playing Shannon McElroy, Mike Kernahan in the final? They're playing the 16th end. It's currently Mike Kernahan was leading Shannon McElroy 15-10. 15-10 with 3 ends to play. So we'll keep you up to date with that one as we broadcast this women's fours final for you. Sandra Keith, Runish, team 9 now after 14 of the 18 ends. Sandra Keith leading Wendy Green as we welcome Kevin Hickland back into commentary, who's been making his way around a couple of the men's matches. What have you picked up, Kevin?
15-10 now, Mike Kernahan over Shannon McElroy after 15 of the 18 ends. Shannon McElroy just picked up a 1 after the previous end had been killed by Shannon McElroy. And of course we know now Gary Lawson has defeated Mike Carroll, so Lawson through to another New Zealand final. And so whoever wins the Kernahan McElroy game, we're certainly going to have, I think, a magnificent final between, well, some of the best.
Already looking forward to that one. Of course, Gary Lawson and Shannon McElroy, long-time teammates. Teammates currently in the Blackjacks, play in the pairs. We'll play at the pairs together at the World Championships on the Gold Coast in late May, early June. Of course, Mike Kernahan, likewise, teammate of Gary Lawson in the 4 for the World Championships. So, yeah, that either or, that'll be a great contest. And as we saw, Shannon McElroy, his game yesterday, he's got a very impressive 4 with Pete Hodson alongside Seamus Kurt as well, along with Tony Grantham. And then you've got the 4 that Mike Kernahan has with Lance Pascoe, Calvin Scott and Chad Grant as well. So whatever way that goes, I think we are in for a very much enthralling men's final. So make sure you do join us. And in around an hour or so, I expect that one to be underway. The men's 4s final. Gary Lawson is already there. Will it be Shannon McElroy or Mike Kernahan joining him?
Also, I noticed, I went inside and there's actually a number of people actually inside watching live on the big screen, away from out the sunshine, and they're sitting in the air conditioning lounge and they're having a cold one and having a bite to eat and watching this live. So it's good to see.
Shout out to everyone in there.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Enjoying yourself in there.
One of the people I bumped into in there, of course, was Adrian Lambert, who was part of that Matamata dynasty with Millie Khan and all of those players, and in fact was the number 3 for New Zealand when they won the silver medal at the Commonwealth Games in Pikaranga in 1990, and then went on to become the New Zealand selector, woman selector and manager for a number of years, now living here in Tauranga. And she's in there with another ex-New Zealand player, who made one international trip, that being Judith Payne, who used to play out of the Carlton Club as it was called then. And they're sitting in there and enjoying, in fact, sitting there with the defeated Hinuera side, watching this live Women's 4s final, where 14 ends gone now, and 17-9 to Sandra Keith. And Selena Smith just about to draw the shot. Lower the jack, but
right on that centre line though again. As you talk about, Kevin, so important to get back to that centre line. Once you find your range, you find your consistency there, it makes the game a lot easier. As that one just slides by from Huia Ratana.
So the key is you just let the bowl do the work, and it will draw up. I was talking to a greenkeeper over there, and we've seen that pace change that we spoke about, because I believe the green was watered last night, and now with the moisture, it's all starting to pull it out. And we're just seeing green become just a wee bit more challenging.
It's 2-shot bowls by Selena Smith, indicated by Kirsten Edwards, our marker, if you have just joined us. Yeah, but familiar with that name, of course, Kirsten Edwards, New Zealand international, defending champion in this very event, along with her mum, Lee Griffin, Andy Boyd and Angela Boyd. Unfortunately for them, they were beaten in the semi-finals, and there we go. Lynette McIntosh, she did it the previous end, drawing the shot, this time with her first bowl, so drawing inside the 2 bowls of Selena Smith.
So Claire Hendra, no doubt, follow. The logical play is to follow that line, you would think. So trying to reach through with that yard of weight, turning one of the Selena Smith bowls into the head.
Yep, exactly what Sandra Keith said, reaching weight. And a few opportunities to change the head.
On the backhand, what I'll say is, you're going to play those shots, you just got, on these greens, with the speed, you just got to play it with more weight, because if you haven't got it dead right, your bowl will just disappear under the line. hardest shots to play on Starweed greens, semi-type weighted shots. So here is now Lynette McIntosh holding one, trailing 17-9 on this, the 15th end. Just going to go by, nearly got a rub off. 1, 2, it's the one. Applause you can hear. There's that other men's semi-final where Mike Kernahan has obviously just drawn the shot, I would imagine, because so here now is Claire Hendra trying to get to the Selena Goddard's bowls. It's going to go by. So it'll be one to the Wendy Green side when they change over. And to be fair, Brenton, Sandra Keith can afford to drop one.
Yeah, ones are fine. I think that will certainly much be her philosophy. You know, if they play better than us and we can't manage to grab the shot, as long as I don't drop a 2 or a 3, it's okay. One's not going to be fatal, and that's what Wendy Green picked up on the previous end, just a 1, so it keeps their hopes alive, but they really need to start picking up multiples, really, if they had a
correct
challenge Sandra Keith here, deny Sandra Keith her maiden national fours title.
And the other thing, of course, is, Brenton, is, and again, this isn't being derogatory to the Wendy Green side, but they haven't really looked like picking up numbers during this game. So, you know, ones are fine, as we see the bowl of Wendy Green's just drop under the head.
Oh, it's interesting you say that, because they obviously did pick up numbers against Wendy
they
Boyd
did.
last
Certainly
night
did.
In their quarter-final.
Certainly did.
So they're obviously capable of it.
So another end gone in the Kernahan final, or semi-final. And I see Lance Pascoe signalling a 1 to the Kernahan side.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Chad Grant picked up the jack there. So we'll see the updated score shortly and bring that to you. There's Wendy Green here. Looks to try and change the situation.
On the back end.
Make it more than 1.
Breaking down
line.
now. Got a good line. Does it turn the bowl over? We'll see from Kirsten
Yeah,
Edwards.
that'll be 2.
There's 2 to the Wendy Green skip side.
That's a great bowl from Wendy Green. Sat on the shot bowl, sat right in front of the Selena Smith bowl. And 2's not the worst result either, but I see Sandra Keith will try and beat them. She can. Draw inside that.
I like in this bowl as it breaks down towards the head. Is it going to sit on the bowl? No, it doesn't. Just going to fall in. If it
Needs
falls
to
in,
stop.
it might
Falls
make
in.
shot if it fell in.
That may be shot. We'll have a little look here. That falling in may just have done enough to grab the shot. Well, certainly has cut the count. It's not going to be 2 now. Potentially 1 to Wendy Green. Or is it, in fact, 1 to Sandra Keith? That last bowl.
1 to the Wendy Green.
So it's cut the count from 2 to 1. It is just a 1 for Wendy Green. So that lead cut to 7 now. 17-10 it is after 15 of the 18 ends. As we fast now reach the conclusion. There's 3 ends remaining in this contest.
And remembering, of course, that one of the men's fours finalists has been found. The side of Gary Lawson skipping Jamie Hill. At number 3, Caleb Hope. And 2, and Sheldon Bagley Harley leading, the 2 boys from Gore. And they will play the winner of the Shannon McElroy Mike Kernahan match, which is underway right on the far rink away from us here. And it is Kernahan that is in front, as we say. They are playing now, I think, the 16th end. So they are quite some distance away from us. And in fact, they're playing the 17th end. And it is 16-10 to Mike Kernahan as they play the 17th end. So a good opening bowl here by the lead. Doreen Ryan just sits in behind the jack on that backhand side of the ring. Jack quite a way back up towards the 2 metre mark, deep towards the 2 metre mark. Taylor Bruce, who was so consistent early on in this match, changed her hand of course as well, and is now out on that backhand side, on the wider side. So Doreen Ryan playing her second bowl on end 16.
Taylor Bruce looking to make the adjustment. Her first. Looks in a pretty good line of the jack, and it does touch the jack and moves it out to the left-hand side, which is a bit unfortunate. Didn't stick with it. Touch it from Taylor Bruce. Ratana, number 2 for Wendy Green. And obviously with the jack moving out to the side, slightly trickier now for the players to try and find. Selena Smith will now endeavour to make her way there.
Well, we've certainly seen, Brendan, when that jack has been moved off the centre line, it has had some challenge to draw to it, as we see now Selena Smith as we play in 16, leading 17 to 10. This bowl's got to get past the front bowls, not going to.
So a decent line, didn't it?
It was on a good line, a very, very good line. That bowl is clear. Hui Ratana, play on her forehand. And that's going to be the shot for sure, that particular bowl. In fact, that's 3 from Kirsten Edwards. That's the sign up there. There's a bit careful here. 3 shots down.
Yeah, that trail of a jack did not go the way obviously Taylor Bruce had hoped, and actually certainly benefiting the bowls of Wendy Green. I think playing with a bit of extra weight here is Selena Smith.
Trying to reach to something, but it's going to go by. So it is important now that they certainly don't drop a number that we spoke about earlier on, Brendan. And sometimes when you've got what are called scattered heads, it can be somewhat difficult. So Claire Hendra now, big job on her shoulders to make sure that even if it doesn't get the shot, but gets second shot, as Lynette McIntosh, number 3 from the Nongataha Club in Rotorua. Looks though, is it going to get all the way? No, it's not. So here now, Claire Hendra, this is when you needed just to have to get the shot, get second shot to be fine.
And just querying there, Claire Hendra to Sandra Keith, which hand to play. And Sandra Keith saying, yep, forehand.
Well,
stick with that, please.
The line is out to where the lead bowl of Doreen Ryan is. That's the endeavour to get out to that bowl and just let the bowl draw in towards the jack from there, and that's exactly what it looks as Claire Hendra, but well played by Claire Hendra regardless of the result from here. It's well played, because certainly only at second shot, and that's exactly what they needed.
Yeah, very well played. And as you say, it really is about damage limitation, with this 2 ends remaining after this. Again, dropping another 1, it's fine. Leading by 6 going into the last couple. But if you drop to 3 or potentially a 4, then all of a sudden you start to get a bit of nervous energy.
Well, jitters come as he watches this bowl of Lynette McIntosh trying to get in towards the jack and scoring. If it falls in, that'll make 2, I would say. We'd wait for Kirsten Edwards to give us an indication.
It certainly looks like 2, doesn't it, from our pictures?
Certainly does. So here now is Claire Hendra. Follow that bowl of Lynette McIntosh. It's good. The good thing about this bowl, as you can see, it's on that wider line. How far is it going to come back on the draw? Definitely played it well to get out on the wider line.
It's going to hit that wider bowl. Just get a bit of a kiss off that.
So we'll see what Kirsten Edwards has to say to us in a moment. She's getting up on a tiptoe. She's not sure what she wants to tell us actually.
May just be one still then.
Yep. There's two.
Two indicated by Kirsten Edwards. Thank you very much. I really appreciate her doing this job, obviously.
When I went round,
didn't have to.
Well, when I went round before, I said to her, "Thanks very much, Kirsten, because it's very, very handy to have that help."
Yeah, especially such specialist help, an international player like that, credential player like that. We'll be representing New Zealand at the World Indoor Championships, along with Ray Martin. In a couple of months. Next month, I think. In fact.
Yes, it is April. They go to
March,
the UK. Yes. And on the carpet, Raymond Martin, of course, has had experience already the UK on the carpet, going over in plane and in the PBA events. He's played over there before. So here is Wendy Green holding 2 on N16, trailing 17-10. Question that line though, Brendan, is that going to be right under the head, or it's going to get contact on anything? Yes, it does, and goes by. I think that will. Hasn't changed anything. The call, I heard Claire Hendrip draw inside, draw just.
Well, there's still plenty of space for that draw, isn't there, on that forehand side? So that's what's called by Claire Hendrip.
I see, in that other men's semi-final, I can see that Mike Kernahan, it would appear, has just scored again. Chad Grant got the mat.
Yeah, I'll bring you up to date as that score is just about to tick over. So, yeah, now playing the last 17-10. So, it's all but over there. Mike Kernahan leading Shannon McElroy. So now Shannon McElroy needing a 7 to force an extra end.
So we see this bob here of Wendy Green's runs into another bowl. We'll see from still 2. 2 is the count. Sandra Keith now 2 down. Doesn't like it.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 2 then. Not going to change the situation here. Players will work out if they agree here with Kirsten Edwards. They take away 1, and they might do a measure for the second. Kirsten Edwards indicating 2. They'll mark it. So this would make it either 17-11 or 17-12. Obviously, with just 2 ends to play after this, is rather significant. Is 2's confirmed. Claire Hendra and Lynette McIntosh working it out. So 17-12 it is. Tightens up even further after 16 of the 18 ends here in this women's fours final. So it was 17-7. So it's a good little fight back by Wendy Green. Scored the last 5 shots, and when you probably look at it, it'll be relatively even on who scored on what ends, because Sandra Keith scored a 5 and a 9, and when you take them away...
Well, if you look at it, there's a 5, a 4 and a 3 that has been scored by the Sandra Keith side, and a 2 and 3 singles. So insofar as scoring of the ends are concerned, there's only been the big numbers which at this point in time have made the difference. But you know, one's got to be careful here. You certainly wouldn't want to be dropping a 3, for example, here with Sandra Keith, because you can go to the last end, and they certainly have been struggling. And interesting that Jack got lost, and that's going to be lost as well, I would say, by Taylor Bruce. So I think that's... I'll definitely be calling the umpire to measure that. The first one got lost. I don't think you'll find that's up. Well, if it is, it's just... I'm sure the umpire... No, that's shaking their head. It's not up.
what they're going to do here. They're going to call the umpire or just decide for themselves. Well, they're going to leave it. I reckon it's enough.
Well,
they're going to bring the umpire out. Now the umpire's going to measure to make sure it's the required distance.
Interesting that the side, the Sandra Keith side, which is conceding that it wasn't up, because that mat is up quite a distance. So umpire has got it out there now. The tape, pulling the tape tight. Boy, if it's up, it's just up. If it's, in fact, if it's up, it's on the line. No, it's not up. So to the 2 metre mark it will go.
And we'll take 3.
Yeah, because
yeah, both leads unable to execute with the placement of the jack. So like you say, placed on the 2 metre mark. So it's a full, closer to a full length end. Obviously the mat is brought a while up the green. Yeah, business end of this women's fours final here now from Bowls Mount Maunganui, as that one ends up well short from Doreen Ryan.
So here for Taylor Bruce now is where the big bowls are required. Let's start the head with a bowl right on top, and in fact runs into the front bowl of Doreen Ryan, and in fact that goes out beyond the confines of the rink. The Ryan bowl, she'll now play her second, and still a metre away is the Taylor Bruce bowl. Was on a good line.
Yeah, it certainly had much better weight. Unfortunate to run into that first Doreen Ryan bowl, and Doreen Ryan's going to be short again with her second on a better line, but still well short.
Taylor Bruce now going back to, there's the hand that the backhand side, which she had been playing this morning. And early on this game, got that ball away very, very smoothly, did Taylor Bruce, and that's always a good sign, the way how Taylor Bruce got that ball away, and breaking down towards the head now, and our prediction was right, Brennan. She got that away really, really smooth on that backhand side, and drew right behind the jack.
Big bowl there. I think they can exhale a bit.
Certainly can.
Because while they've still got quite a comfortable lead going into these last couple of ends, the fact that Wendy Green has scored the last 5, they're still hanging around. They weren't able to really just put the foot on the throat and end this match. May have started to cause a few nerves. That bowl will certainly help settle them.
So, good attempt here by Claire Huiratana, and this is going to be a great attempt. We're just going to finish low of the jack. It'll be second shot. So here now, Selena Smith needs to get that similar delivery line that we just saw from Taylor Bruce. You can, I suppose after you've watched the number of bowls that we've watched, you can get an idea pretty quickly on the delivery what a bowl's going to, what it's going to look like on the arc to the head. There's another good reply from Kirsten, from Selena Smith, and finishes just over jack high, but good thing for the Sandra Keith side, they're in and around the head, Brendan.
Well, exactly right. That's what they need. They need to put a bit of pressure back on Wendy Green's quartet. Of course, they're the ones that should be chasing the score. They need to get multiple here to really make it interesting on the 18th and final end. Likewise, Sandra Keith's 4 can really end the match here if they can pick up a decent number, put it out of Wendy Green's reach.
McElroy, I see on the drive over there against Mike Kernahan, going for the kill. Obviously not in the position to pick up a good number. Good bowl from Selena Smith, sits in behind that of the Taylor Bruce bowl. So Lynette McIntosh now on her backhand, following up. the bowls played by Selena Smith and Taylor Bruce. It looks to be under the line though, and this is going to be under the line. And the finalists have been found in the men's fours, and the side of Mike Kernahan, Lance Pascoe, Kelvin Scott and Chad Grant, they have defeated the side of Shannon McElroy, Tony Grantham, Peter Hodson and Seamus Curtin. So we're going to see a men's final here at around about, I think, it could be 3:30, quarter to 4. Where we'll see Gary Lawson going for his 14th New Zealand title up against Mike Kernahan. And what a final that certainly is going to be, as we see now Lynette McIntosh deliver her second bowl on this, the 17th end. We're bringing you, of course, all of the live action of that men's fours final as the Lynette McIntosh bowl just slips by. And 2 is the indication from Kirsten Edwards.
So 2 blackjacks to go head to head in the men's fours final. Mike Kernahan up against Gary Lawson, even though in the entry it's listed as Lance Pascoe. It's his 4. Mike Kernahan certainly is the skip of the 4. Lance Pascoe playing 3.
Lance Pascoe said to me when we went over there before, Kernahan's not only playing the last 2 bowls, but he's playing the best 2 bowls as well. As by all accounts, Mike Kernahan was going pretty well in that game against Shannon McElroy.
So holding 3 is the situation as the sides change over. The skips now make their way back to the mat. That's 3s to Sandra Keith as well, so that would all but end the match if they can hold on to those 3. Very good position.
Wendy Green, the big Panama is just blown away.
Yeah, certainly won the hat game though.
Oh, yeah, that's
Doreen Ryan and Wendy Green.
First prize without any shadow of doubt. So Wendy Green really has to, she's got to ideally to try and score a number, and her number of 3 is actually on get the trail shot through the back, get to the counting bowls. So here Wendy Green playing with that really aggressive weight to get down to what is the 3 counting bowls. That's going to go by on the wide side.
Well, I think we might be getting near shake hands time. One more bowl from Wendy Green. She can't execute. Then I think we may be shaking hands because they're holding 3, Sandra Keith, and she has a chance to make it 4 here.
Looks to be on a good line, Brendan, now as this is breaking down towards the head. This is a good bowl here from the skip for Sandra Keith. Sits right in, nestles in behind, in fact a back toucher. So, yeah, Wendy Green, all the pressure now on the Nongataha skip. Winner of 23 Bay of Plenty titles.
And she knows how important this is, Wendy Green. The hat's off, and she's put the bowl down on the mat. She's going to come and have a look at their situation and have a little chat with their number 3, Lynette McIntosh, as well. What do I do here?
Well,
how do I come up with something? Because it's not just trying to deny them the 4 that Sandra Keith's holding, but it's also trying to score a multiple of their own, because a 1, it gives you a slim chance, but you're still down by 4 going into the final end.
There's only 2. There's a 2-shot chance. That's the only thing that's available, Brendan, and that's a trail down towards the deep end of the rink where there's they've got a bowl there and behind, and of course the bowl of Wendy Greens would have to go with it, and that would give them 2 shots. And remember, of course, Sandra Keith has still got a bowl left, so you know this is a big bowl here for Wendy Green. She's going to try and kill it again. And looks to me playing with what I would call weight to get to the jack.
Looks like it's going to come under the line, is it? And it comes up with nothing. And with 4, that may do it. They May shake hands, and they will. And that is it. Sandra Keith, Claire Hendra, Selena Smith, and Taylor Bruce are the National Women's Fours champions here at the Summerset Nationals at Bowls Mount Maunganui. They have beaten Wendy Green, Lynette McIntosh, Huia Ratana, and Doreen Ryan 21-12. A big congratulations to them. 2 national titles in 1 year for Selena Smith. Taylor Bruce picks up another national fours title. Claire Hendra, her first national title, and her first national fours title for Sandra Keith. And overall, certainly well deserved, given a clip.
Certainly was, but the interesting part about that was, Brenton, is that actually the Wendy Green's side scored on 9 ends compared to the 8 ends of the Sandra Keith side. But it was the big numbers which the side of Taylor Bruce, Selena Smith, Claire Hendra and Sandra Keith picked up. They picked up a 3 on the second end, a 4 on the 8th, then a 5th on the 9th end, of course, then a 4 on the 17th end. So clear winners was the Sandra Keith side, and to me it was all set up early on in the head count. To me, Taylor Bruce, who played so well this morning, played exceptionally well this morning in the semi-final against Debbie White, but again this afternoon was also exceptional on the draw. Went through a bit of a lean patch, changed her hand, but then came back to her conventional draw, and was certainly, to me, was the strength of the side. And of course, we will shortly have the men's final, where we're going to see the side of Gary Lawson at skip, Jamie Hill, Caleb Hope and Sheldon Bagley-Harley. They'll be up against the Mike Kernahan side. Mike Kernahan skipping with Lance Pascoe at 3, 2 Kelvin Scott and their lead Chad Grant. And they will be playing that men's fours final very shortly, and we'll be bringing that, of course, live to you. Before that, however, though, we're going to see an interview with Brenton Van Nistelrooy is going to have a chat with Sandra Keith. I don't think why she needs to be up there with the umpire. It's all over. She's won. Let's get this over with. And then the presentation will take part. But we are firstly going to have a chat, one hopes. It's this is worse than in the shed after the 18th at the golf as they signed. So we want Sandra Keith please to turn around and she's coming now to Brenton Van Nistelrooy. And just to repeat, the side of Sandra Keith, Claire Hendra, Selena Smith and Taylor Bruce are the winners of the National Fours here, the Summerset National Women's Fours. And I hand you now to Brenton Van Nistelrooy, who is with the winner of the fours, standing there now with Sandra Keith.
Yeah, I'm with Sandra Keith here, the successful skip of the National Women's Fours here at Bowls Mount Maunganui. Well, congratulations, Sandra. You must be very pleased with how everything clicked today on finals day.
Yeah, the team's gone really well the whole tournament. It's been a bit of an armchair ride, but I'll take it.
Well, you say that, but you came up with some pretty big bowls yourself over the 2 games we covered today.
Yeah, pretty good team effort overall, and really rapt to be asked to play with them. So it was really cool that we got it.
Well, how did it all come about?
Taylor asked me to play. I think they already had their other 3 organised, but usually I'm playing with people. I'm usually the youngest in the team, but I'm the old girl today, so but that's cool.
Yeah, it seemed to all click, the 4?
Yes, it was very compatible. There was no arguments anywhere along the way. No, it was great.
Winning your first fours title to go with the other national titles, what does it mean?
Gives me a set. I'm happy. Yeah, been bridesmaid twice, so yeah, pretty cool. Really wrapped.
Yeah, what do you think the difference was today? Why did it work out so well in both your semi-final and your final?
Up front, Taylor led superbly all day, and everyone did their bit. Starts at the start. I'm there to try and get us out of trouble if it's gone all haywire. Didn't have to today, so that's good.
And were there any nerves at all on that closing stage, knowing that Wendy Green had come back against Mandy Boyd last night?
Yeah, you never take anything for granted. We played the first game after qualifying. We were 16-5 up, 91-17-16, so you got to keep your wits about you the whole way through the game.
Well, congratulations once again. We look forward to the presentation. Good luck lifting up that big trophy.
Sweet, we'll do it. Thank you.
Sandra Keith there, successful skip of the New Zealand Women's Four here, who's taken down Wendy Green in the final of the National Women's Four here at Bowls Mount Maunganui. Stay with us as we will soon have the presentation of the trophy to Sandra Keith and her four, successful four, who have taken out the title. Claire Hendra along with Selena Smith, and also off the front, Taylor Bruce.
So we've just seen the completion interview there with Sandra Keith, of course, the victorious skip here in this fours final this afternoon. So just to reconfirm with Brendan, we saw Taylor Bruce, Selena Smith, Claire Hendra and Sandra Keith defeat that of Doreen Ryan, Claire Ratana, Linda McIntosh and Wendy Green in this final. And we'll be back with you this later on this afternoon in about half an hour with the final of the men's fours, when we'll have Mike Kernhan up against Gary Lawson, and we'll now have the presentation of the fours, and we'll be back in about half an hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention please? We have reached the end of one of our finals today in the Summerset National Fours, and it's with an enormous amount of pleasure that we welcome a very special guest to the green, Mr. Mike Spring, former President of Bowls New Zealand, and a face very well known to everybody here, I'm sure. Mike, welcome. To my left, Alex Reid and of course Helen Stallard, you all know, are going to help us with these presentations, which we will get straight into. Starting with the third place getters, our bronze medalists. Firstly, the Debbie White team, Debbie, Bev Corbett, Carol Cox and Jocelyn Holton. Would you come forward please and receive your bronze medals? Give them a big hand. They've had a good week. Sorry to make you walk all the way down the green, but you've done it a few times already. I reckon you do one more. Well done, team. And our other losing semi-finalists, the Denise West team, Denise, Olivia Bloomfield, Paris Baker and Judy Smith. Would you come forward and receive your medals, please? Definitely not hard to spot this team on the green. They've got a great shirt, haven't they? Well done, team. Well done. Big hand, everybody. Bronze medalists, 2020. Well done. Okay, so we move to our silver medalists, our losing finalists. The Wendy Green team with Wendy, Lynette Murdoch, Hui Ratana and Doreen Ryan. Beg your pardon, McIntosh. Thank you, team. Thank you, Mike. And of course, our champions. Wonderful week for them. Sandra Keith, Claire Hendra, Selena Smith and Taylor Bruce. Please come forward and receive your caps, your gold medals, and of course, our newly created trophy, which is absolutely fantastic, and you are the first recipients of it. Well done. Sandra, would you like to come and receive the shield for the championship? And I'll let you get a little photo with that, maybe with your team as well, after you've taken a photo with Mike. And then I'll give you the right of reply. And everyone.
Thank you very much. We've had a wonderful few days, and I'd just like to thank the Tauranga Centre for their beautiful bowling greens. Everyone we've been on's been pretty good, so we can't complain. You put on the weather, you've run it, Bowls New Zealand, you've run it very well. And to Wendy and her team in the final, congratulations getting that far, and very, very tough fought battle. We were right in it till the end, so thank you. And to Taylor, Selena and Claire, bloody awesome, mate. I was so happy that Taylor rang me up and asked me to play. She's asked me a couple of times and I've said no, so maybe I should have planned the other couple of times, but anyway. Thank you very much, and to everyone involved, thank you.
Congratulations again. We are going to get straight into the men's final. Just as soon as those two teams are ready, we'll clear the decks here. Your two teams in that final, Gary Lawson, Jamie Hill, Caleb Hope and Sheldon Bagri-Howley will take on Lance Pascoe, Mike Kernahan, and two names who I have suddenly lost. I am sorry, but I'm sure you know who they are. Chad Grant and Kelvin Scott. Thank you, Helen.
And we will have that match for you very shortly. The men's final has just said there by Chris Lander, the tournament director. Gary Lawson going for a 14th national title, playing with Jamie Hill, Caleb Hope and Sheldon Bagri-Howley, up against Mike Kernahan, Lance Pascoe, Kelvin Scott and Chad Grant. And join us in around 15 minutes or so, and we will have a broadcast of that men's final. But again, just congratulating Sandra Keith, Claire Hendra, Selena Smith and Taylor Bruce, champions of the National Women's Fours for 2020. We'll be back again shortly with our final broadcast of these Summerset National Fours.